What actually we had learned in our previous session was regarding the DLL hijacking. So basically, we had understood what actually is DLL, what exactly are DLLs, what exactly is the process within our system to go forward and search for the DLLs by the application, why DLLs are being used by the application, and how we will be able to conduct the DLL hijacking as well. Typically, we have seen both of the roles. Basically, in case if we just want to go forward and check whether the application is exploitable or not, we had validated those specific things. We had also seen that when it comes to any kind of exploits, if we want to prepare, then how we can prepare the exploits and take over the full system itself with the help of DLL hijacking, right? So that is what we had seen in our previous session. Now, basically today we will be understanding the memory analysis, right? So basically what actually is happening here, we had seen the registry part, we had seen our system part, we had seen the files, right? Now we will be seeing the process itself. So whenever application has that particular process, basically whenever we are executing the application, right? So at that point of time, what happens is the code of the application, right? Code of the client application will be loaded in the RAM memory. Now what happens is, basically we had seen the file system where we had checked whether there is any kind of temporary files, right? We had validated those specific configuration files and all of those specific things, right? Now we need to validate that whenever the application is loading the application, whenever the code is getting loaded within the application, at that point of time, during that particular processing, whether there is any kind of insecure things which are going on within the application or not, right? So at that point of time, whenever we are loading that particular memory, right, whenever we are executing the memory, how actually it is loading those specific details within the memory itself from the RAM memory itself. So that is what we'll be validating in our today's session. So to do that, we need to understand few of the things. The first thing which we need to understand is this one, which is processes. What actually is process and how it will be going forward and getting available, like it will executed within the system as well. So normally processes are those specific things which are basically those specific the services which will be executed by our operating system whenever we are executing the application. So for example, if I'm having example.exe as my client application which I'm going to execute, typically what happens is whenever I execute it, to load that particular memory, the code into the memory, into the RAM, and to get that particular process going on by the CPU itself, what happens is basically it will go forward and create the process of it. Now that particular process will be completing all the tasks which it's supposed to do, right? And basically at that point of time, in case if it is having some kind of subtask, it will be creating new processes, new threads, and basically the application will function within our system. Now, basically what happens is whenever we are going through that particular process, it will be having many things within which are available. So basically it will be showing us all those specific properties. It will be having all the details within itself only. So it will be having all the properties of that particular application. It will be having all those specific usage details, right? Whatever are the things which are available, basically how much network it is utilizing, how much system memory, right? How much CPU it is utilizing, how much resources it requires to go forward and validate, right? So all of those specific things it will be having within that. It will be having whatever are the things which are loaded within the memory. All those specific details will also be available. Any specific type of implementation has been done within the application, whether there is any kind of encrypted data which is being loaded by the application, or whether it is dealing with some specific type of folders or files or all of those kind of things, that is also will be available within the process itself. Now, what will be our task? We need to go forward and review those specific details, and we need to validate whether there is any kind of sensitive data which we are finding or not, or basically whenever it is getting those specific details. Now, how actually it is processing those specific things, right? So that is what we need to look at. So to go forward and do that particular things, there are multiple tools which can help us to complete that particular thing. The first one is Process Explorer. Now, Process Explorer is the tool which is coming up from the Microsoft Sys internal suite itself, right? Previously, we had utilized procmon multiple times. Now, within the same repository, Process Explorer or procexp is available. Now, typically, we can go forward and we can utilize that one. The main issue which we might face here is, in case if the application is too much quick to kill its own process, definitely we might miss out on that particular thing. So whatever are the live processes which are available, right? Basically, we will be able to go forward and see that particular data. Now, in case if example.exe is starting up, creating a new process thread and killing its own process, like its own main process, so at that point of time it will also been removed from the Process Explorer itself. There is nothing like history where we can see the historical data at that point of time. To resolve this particular challenge, we will be using during our sessions, we'll be using one of the other tools which is called Process Hacker. It is having the same functionalities as Process Explorer, but we will be able to see that particular the client application process, multiple more of the information, right? The error details will also be available, so it will be much more helpful for us. So now let us go forward and jump to our particular application, our particular system where we have set up all those specific things, and we will be going forward and we'll be seeing how actually it is looking like. Now, again, as every time, right, all the downloading details, the place where all the links and all the things where you can utilize and download will already been available within our PPT itself. So you do not need to worry about the download links and all of those kind of things. You can just directly download it. Installation steps are very simple, right? You can just click on next install and you are good to go. Now let us first of all review how the Process Hacker is, and then we will go forward and execute our process, and we will see how our test case will be for that particular thing. This is our Process Hacker. So basically, just to save time, I have already installed it. And the same details you will also be able to find in Process Explorer. But yeah, for example, if there is this particular process which is again getting killed, right, that process will be removed. Here we will be able to see that particular historical data and will be able to go forward and identify. Now, typically, you might be seeing multiple colors, what actually these colors represent. Okay, basically what happens is, whenever there is any new process which is getting started, it will be available within the green highlight. Right, so here you can see these are the green ones are the ones which are loading at that point of time, which has been just initiated. Then there is a yellow, which is either idle or within that particular stage where it is currently which is currently in the pause state, or basically it is in the idle state. Blue ones are currently the active one, whites one are also in the active one itself. The pink and red one, right, are the ones which are about to get stopped or about to get killed off, right? So basically, in case if there is the main process which is killed off, definitely within some time the other processes, the child processes might be, the child threads might be killed off, right? So at that point of time, typically they will be removed out. So this is how actually it will be looking like. And all the processes which are available within the system, right, all those specific processes will be available here. There will be multiple information which will be able to find. The first thing is process ID, which is PID, how much CPU utilization is there, right? How many bytes has been occupied, the username who is executing the same thing, and the description of it, right? So all of those specific things will be available. Typically, we will be seeing the parent-child hierarchy, right? So for example, here there is one of the service which is running here, which is Splunk D, right? So it has multiple child processes, right? Something like it is executing MongoDB and Python and other old processes. So typically we'll be able to see within the child parent hierarchy. Here you can see this is the main process, right? And basically at that point of time, we'll be able to see the child processes as well. So likewise, we'll be able to go forward and get those specific details. The main here, this kind of things, which is process ID, CPU, and all those things are not that much useful for us. Okay, basically what we need to validate is that whether the process is running in the active state or not, and we can get more and more details out of it. Now let us understand, like if we have selected out, for example, this is one of my thick client application, which is VM tools D, right? Now, what actually are the things which I can expect from here? What actually are the details which are
कहाँ से आया
क्या कौन सा चीज
VM tools D
वो ऑलरेडी चल ही रहा था मेरे सिस्टम में, ये VMware में सेटअप है ना, तो बेसिकली ये जो प्रोसेस है ना, ये सारी प्रोसेस ऑलरेडी चल ही रही है, मैंने कुछ एग्जीक्यूट नहीं किया। ये काफी ऐसी प्रोसेस होगी जो बैकग्राउंड प्रोसेस होगी, जैसे कि ये सिस्टम वाली प्रोसेस। ओके, और सेम वे जो भी प्रोसेस यहाँ पे दिख रही है वो आइदर ऑटो स्टार्ट प्रोसेस होगी या तो फिर बेसिकली सिस्टम प्रोसेस होगी। अगर मैं कुछ एग्जीक्यूट कर रहा हूँ तो वो प्रोसेस भी यहाँ पे दिखेगी। ओके, तो जो भी प्रोसेस चल रही है वो सारी प्रोसेस हमें दिखाएगा। ओके,
जब मैं प्रैक्टिस करूंगा तो ये ऑटोमेटिकली आ जाएगा ये एप्लीकेशन
क्या
VM
चीज?
कौन से किस पे ये वाला वल्नरेबिलिटी हम किस पे परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं कौन सा एप्लीकेशन
वो हम देखेंगे, अभी तो बस हम टूल का रिव्यू कर रहे
ओके
हैं। तो basically, for example, if I am having one process, what actually are the details which we will be able to see within any process, right? For example, this is one of the application now, or other, for example, this is one of the other application, for example, process hacker, right? What we can have that. So we can just right click on that particular process, any of the process which is available. And typically what we will be able to do is we will be able to see here this option, which is properties. Now, typically along with properties, we can either dump that particular file, okay, or we can open the properties. Dump file means it will just take the memory dump out of it and we can review it in some another particular place, right? So basically likewise we will go ahead and check it at that point of time. We can also open the file location from where actually it has been executed. So here you can see from the place where it has been executed. So all those specific details will be able to check at that point of time. Now let us see within the properties what actually we are able to see at that point of time. So for example, this is OneDrive, and within the OneDrive, we had opened the properties. Now let us go forward and magnify it a bit so that we can see everything clearly. Okay, so at that point of time, here, these are the details which we'll be able to see. For example, in the general things, we will be able to go forward and validate overall information regarding the application. Okay, something like where exactly the application path is, till what time it has been started, the memory address, and the parent process of it. Right. So these are the information. Typically within our projects, this will not be majorly useful, but yeah, basically these are the information which will be able to validate. These things we'll be seeing later on during our next all vulnerabilities, something like ASLRs, DEP, and everything we will be seeing, right? We will be going forward. There are few of the vulnerabilities which are related to that one. We will come back and we will review it later on. But for today's test case, we will not be looking into that. We will come back and we will see this particular thing. The normal things which are available within the system, which is the how much CPU usage, input, memory addresses, performance within the system, how many threads it has been creating, right? What all are the tokens which it has generated, modules, and all the extra comments, GPU usage, environmental variables, and all of those kind of details will be available. What actually we need to focus on? We will be focusing on the memory and the strings of within the memory. So basically what actually are these particular things? Whenever this application has been loaded within that particular memory session, right? So at that point of time, what actually are the things which has been loaded within our CPU, right? All those specific details will be available here. and that particular thing will be converted into ASCII characters, which we can read, and those specific things will be available here, and we will be able to read that. Now, in this scenario, what actually we'll be looking for here, all the sensitive data which we had discussed previously, which we were seeing in the normal strings, right? So there's the same data we'll be looking here and we'll be validating. Now, why actually we are looking into the both place? Previously, if you guys remember, we had executed one of the tool called strings tool, right? And basically at that point of time, we had gotten the ASCII characters or Unicode characters from the executable file, and we were looking for that particular details, that whether there is any specific type of things, right? Whether any type of sensitive details, something like credentials, tokens, internal IP address, those kind of things are available there or not. Now, again, here we are doing similar kind of things, right? We are looking into the strings, and this is the major question which I get, that basically here also we are looking into the strings, and then what actually is the difference between this strings and that strings, right? There, whatever we had done the previous test case, that was on the executable file, which was within the static file, right? Basically, where the file was not loaded, and we were just validating what actually we can extract from that particular file, whether we are able to find any kind of sensitive information from the static file without execution. Now, currently, what we are doing, basically in this particular test case, we are loading that particular data within the memory, right? So basically our CPU has been taking up data, and while loading, whether there is any kind of insecure, any kind of sensitive data which is loaded in the plain text within the memory is available or not. So that is what we are looking at, right? So at that point of time, we were just looking into the static file, which was our normal executable file. Currently, what we are looking at is whatever are the things which are loaded within the memory, right? That particular data, whether there is any kind of sensitive detail which we are able to find, right? So basically those specific things we are looking at. So currently we are looking into the dynamic file, right? So dynamic application memory. So basically this is what the main difference is. Again, the words are similar, so it might get you confused that basically there also we were looking into the strings, currently also we are looking into the strings. So is there any difference or not? Yeah, there is a major difference, because there it was basically in the normal file, and currently it is in the execution stage, right? So basically we need to check in if the file is having any kind of misconfiguration whenever it is statically setting into the system, and whenever it is getting loaded. Both of the times we need to validate. So that is the main reason. So likewise, we'll be able to go forward and get all those specific strings and the length and the memory address where it is loaded. What we can do is we can just save that particular file, and we can just search it around. Here you can see this particular, there is a IP address which has been leaked. Now currently this particular IP address might be my system's own IP address, but likewise we'll be able to go forward and get all those specific details, and we'll be able to see whether there is any kind of sensitive data which is available or not. Now, just for the revision purpose, what actually are the sensitive data which we are looking for? Any kind of credentials, hard-coded credentials, right? Those kind of things. In case if we have entered some specific type of credentials, that will also get loaded into the memory, whether those specific credentials are being available or not. Any kind of tokens, right? Sensitive keys, any specific type of email address or any kind of personal data, any kind of internal URLs, any specific type of internal IP addresses, all of those specific type of things, which is, just think of it based on the application, what actually will be the sensitive data. Now, many of the application might be taking up PII data. You need to look for that particular thing. Many of the application will be taking some specific type of other details like credit card details, debit card details. You need to look for those specific things. So based on your application, the sensitive data might be added. Okay, but these are the common sensitive data which we will be looking at, which most of the application will be having, right? Now, based on your application, if your application is taking credit card details, you need to search for that particular thing, and you will be looking for that. Now that we had understood the properties of this application, this tool which we will be utilizing, now let us go forward and start our thick client application and see that whether there is any kind of data which we are able to find, and what exactly is the steps which we will be following at that point of time. Now here the thick client application which will be taking up will be the same thick client application which we had previously taken up, right? Which was 𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗏, right? This we have understood regarding the code review part, right? So this will be already pre-installed in your system if you have done the assignment at that point of time. So basically you will be using the same application. We will execute the same thing. We'll go to our process hacker, and here within some time, once it's get loaded, right? So at that point of time, here you'll be able to find that application. So here you can see this has came up. What we will do is we will just right click on that. We'll go to
तो आप
properties.
फिल्टर वगैरह नहीं लगा सकते क्या,
क्या
अगर
चीज?
ग्रीन प्रोसेस फिल्टर, मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे आपने बोला कि ग्रीन एक नया प्रोसेस इंडिकेट करता है,
हाँ हाँ।
तो फिल्टर वगैरह से देख सकते हैं कौन से नए प्रोसेस आ रहे
फिल्टर से तो हाँ, मतलब यहाँ पे तुरंत ये एक टाइप का फिल्टर ही है ना, ग्रीन और वो सारा। तो यहाँ पे ग्रीन से हमें पता लग जाएगा ओवरऑल। पर ऐसा स्पेसिफिक हम जैसे प्रोक मोड में करते थे, राइट? जहाँ पे हम स्पेसिफिक वो देख सकते हैं, वो यहाँ पे हम चेक कर सकते हैं। यहाँ पे मैं कर सकता हूँ यहाँ इस तरीके से, तो वो एक स्पेसिफिक प्रोसेस आ जाएगा। तो ये ऐसा फिल्टर होगा ना। स्पेसिफिक हम वो आर्ग्यूमेंट सेट नहीं कर सकते कि जो नया प्रोसेस है वही मुझे दिखना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये तो क्या है कि कॉन्स्टेंटली रहता है ना। एक प्रोसेस जो है वो 1 सेकंड के लिए नया होता है, फिर वो आइडल हो जाते हैं। तो उसी तरीके से यहाँ पे देखो, ये अभी आइडल स्टेट में, तो सेम होगा, तो वो 1 सेकंड में वापस से चला जाएगा। तो ऐसा फिल्टर का प्रोसेस नहीं है, बट यहाँ पे हम सर्च कर सकते हैं और यहाँ से हम देख सकते हैं उसी तरीके से। ओके, so here we'll be able to see that particular properties and we'll be seeing the memory. So here there will, like whenever we are going forward and we are seeing the strings, right? Before jumping into the strings, what we'll be doing? We will be going forward and we will be doing all the activities within the application, right? For example, if there is some kind of things which are change password functionality or login functionality, registration functionality, forgot password functionality, adding of any kind of sensitive, for example, if your application takes any kind of PII details, adding those specific PII details, all those specific functionalities will be covering up, right? And then we will go forward and refresh this particular strings, and then we will take up that particular strings, right? Without that particular details, if you take the strings, it will be of no use, because the data has not been loaded into the memory. And our main purpose why we are conducting this particular test case is we need that particular data, and we need to see whether that data is in that particular format or not, right? Whether it is in the plain text format, or how actually the application is processing in the backend, right? So that is the main reason. For now, for this particular demonstration, what I will be doing is I will try to log in and I will enter the sensitive data which is my credentials, right? User ID and password. Now, once I enter, it does not matter if I log in or not. Just I have loaded that particular thing. You can also have both of the test case, first of the successful login and unsuccessful login, and then you can go forward and do that. Okay, for now, I will just do unsuccessful login, and we will see whether our password is getting leaked in the memory or not. Once we have done that particular thing, here there will be the refresh option. We will just refresh it so that the updated memory will be loaded here, and we will go to the strings to see the ASCII data which can be in a readable format. So here you can see all the memory which is available has been loaded here, right? Now, what actually we will be doing here? Typically, this will be very much in the more context, right? So here you can see there will be loads of data which will be available, and even if we are having this filter option and we filter, it will not be of major use for us. For example, if I want to search for password, it might be giving me a multiple memory address, which might again not be that much useful for us, right? So what we will do is we will just go forward and save this particular thing into a text file, and we will search with our notepad editor and likewise. So here we will be going forward and we will be saving it up. And at that point of time, we will close this, we will minimize this particular thing, and we will see that what actually are the data which is available within that particular file. So here you can see this is the strings. We'll just go forward and we will open that particular file within our notepad editor. And at that point of time, what we are going to do is we can just search it across, right? Whatever are the things, for example, if there is credentials, tokens, keys, right? You can first of all, like how we were doing in the previous thing, right? First of all, we will search it so that we can check whether there is any specific type of data which is directly leaked or not. And in the second scenario, what we will do is we will manually review it just by scrolling it so that we can just confirm that whether there is anything which is getting missed out of us or not, because many times we might be just looking for password, but in the backend it might be something like pass wd or something like that, right? So our manual review is also necessary as we are looking within the our searching functionality as well. If we are directly getting the search within the search functionality, it is okay, we do not need to look for the manual place. We will go ahead and we will search for the password, and we will see what actually are the things which are coming up here. We'll just go to the find, we'll go to password, and we will just search it up, and we will see whether there is any. So these are the specific properties or the functions which are available within the application. So at that point of time, it is okay. We will just go forward and see all of those specific details. Okay, and there are few of the again different functions which are available. Few of the things which we see in the 𝗃𝗶𝗶 application is available, right? So all of those specific things are available. And basically, if we scroll down, so here you can see basically within the application, this is the thing which is again available, right? So basically here you can see it has been in an encrypted format, right? And we are able to see those specific details which are available from the application itself. So this might be loaded while the application was loaded within that particular application itself, right? We will again go back and see whether there is anything which is there or not. So typically, this is how we will be checking. Now, this was the scenario where we had entered the incorrect password. Now, similar things will also happen when you will be entering the correct password. So here I have also highlighted the same thing, right? But that I will not be showing up within this particular place, because I have also I have shown you the full particular steps of how you can search, right? Now you need to go forward and see the same application. You need to go forward and take up all of those specific test cases. For example, entering the incorrect password, then entering the correct password and logging in, then entering some kind of sensitive data within the application, right? Changing password, reset password, right? Active or deactivate user, right? All of those specific type of things, or all the functionalities you need to do within your application, and then you can refresh and you need to see that what all are the other data which you are able to go forward and get within the plain text within the memory as well, right? So that will be the assignment for you guys. So basically I have shown you within one of the test case. Now rest of the test case you need to go forward and validate, and you need to check whether what all data you have been was available within the plain text. So any doubts, any queries, anything till now in this particular test case? Anything, guys?
हाय केवल.
Yes,
सो ये तो ठीक ही है ना, मतलब कोई जो लोड करता है इन अ
mm-hmm.
मेमोरी, यू नो, बिकॉज करंटली इफ वी सी हियर पासवर्ड तो मतलब जो भी उसका इंटरनल है एप्लीकेशन का, जिन जिन लोगों ने एप्लीकेशन यूज किया है, बट वो एप्लीकेशन में भी वी आर यूजिंग अ वर्नरेबल एप्लीकेशन. जस्ट करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग. वी आर यूजिंग वर्नरेबल एप्लीकेशंस, तो उस एप्लीकेशन के जो फाइल्स है उसमें ही ये डेटा ऑलरेडी फीड है. इफ यू टेक दी एनी वन, यू नो, लाइक बाकी जो वर्नरेबल ऐप नहीं है, और प्रोबेबली एनी अदर ऐप, ओके, तो ये ऐसा सिनारियो आता है क्या? बिकॉज ईएक्सी जो होती है वो इंडिविजुअल होती है बेसिकली. Maybe default credentials आ सकते हैं in memory or some other, but I am installing application on my system. Somebody is installing application by downloading from from the web, or maybe suppose a proprietary होगा, तो we are getting license and we are installing it. Okay, तो इस केस में how many chances are there, like because currently I am using suppose एक ABC application है, उसका version जो launch हुआ है that is a 1.0, I am installing now on 1.0, I am entering my username and password. Okay, there is a less chances like हाँ malware आ सकता है तो तुम्हारा data fetch हो सकता है, suppose ऐसे cases हो सकते हैं तो, but दूसरे लोगों का password तो मुझे नहीं मिल सकता है, right, in that case, because they are installing, because I don't have the access to the system. वो लोग तो उनके मशीन पे इंस्टॉल कर रहे हैं, so they know the password and there is a less chances like this person also knows, मतलब क्योंकि मैं ऐसा क्यों बोल रही हूँ, क्योंकि सिस्टम अलग अलग है ऑल टुगेदर, आई डोंट हैव अ कंट्रोल ऑफ दैट सिस्टम. तो इस केस में मतलब वन एक हैकिंग पॉइंट लग रहा है, हाँ कुछ तो मालवेयर आएगा, बिकॉज मालवेयर विल एक्सट्रैक्ट द डेटा एंड ट्राई टू यूज दैट सेम थिंग. ओके, बट अगेन जब ये जो सिस्टम होता है हमारा क्लाइंट एंड सर्वर जो रहता है, दिस इज माय क्लाइंट एंड द डेटाबेस, क्योंकि कंपनी का खुद का एक डेटाबेस रहेगा ना. मुझे करेक्ट करो, एक्चुअली आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू कनेक्ट
दो
द
तीन
डॉट्स
क्वेश्चन
एंड
है.
ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड.
हाँ, तो दो
हाँ.
तीन क्वेश्चन है. सबसे पहले तो पहला ये क्वेश्चन है जो मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ कि यहाँ पे कॉन्फ़िगरेशन फाइल जो है वो लोड होता है, राइट. तो फिर अगर हम कुछ क्रेडेंशियल्स डालेंगे तो वो लोड होता है कि नहीं, वो आएगा कि नहीं, राइट. ये पहला क्वेश्चन था.
हम्म.
तो यहाँ पे दोनों चीजें हो सकती है. सबसे पहला ये हो सकता है कि बेसिकली वी विल बी लाइक in the memory, right? Here what we are, our main purpose of doing this is to check whether the memory of the application is validating, right? Whether it is loading the sensitive data in a clear format or not, right? So at that point of time, the code of the application will be loaded into the memory, right? So at that point of time, whatever are the things which were available within the code of the application, either it was in the separate DLL or in the code, will be loaded. Now, whenever I am doing the task within the application, for example, I am logging in. So during the login session, right, during that particular thing, whatever I'm entering within that particular things, for example, I had entered something like admin@123, so that also will be loaded into the memory. So we are currently looking into the memory and seeing whether how actually it is loading that kind of sensitive data, whether there is any kind of protection or not. Now, second thing is your second question, that what actually can be the impact here, right? Whether it will be something like malware or what actually can be the impact here. Now, currently, what happens is whenever there is any kind of this kind of systems which are available, right? Typically, it will be in the same network. So at that point of time, there will be many of the tools. For example, let's assume the security tools itself, right? Security tools like EDR, right? Any specific type of antiviruses, all of those specific type of tools have the remote access where they can take the remote dump of any processes or any full system dump from within the system itself, right? Now, if we take in the same scenario, if there is any specific type of malicious actor within the same network, right? So at that point of time, if they are having the connection within the network, they will be able to go forward and have that particular system, and they will be able to take that particular details as well from the memory itself. They will be able to take the memory dump and they will be able to go forward and fetch those specific details from that particular memory. Now let's assume that, for example, here we are using some kind of banking application. Just to explain you the scenario, for example, I'm using the banking application, which is a kind of a thick client application, and I am entering all my financial details there, right? Now that particular financial details are loaded into the memory within the clear text, and the attacker is going forward and if they are in the same network, or even your scenario is also same, right? If the system has been compromised, they will be able to go forward and take that particular memory dump, and they will be able to see that particular details within the within that particular that particular from the memory dump itself, right? So that is the main reason why what we will be recommending as a penetration tester is whatever are the sensitive details, right? If there is any kind of tokens, any specific type of session IDs, whenever it is getting loaded into the memory, it should be in the into the secure format, right? So where basically this particular type of thing should not be available, and basically it will not be in the format where anyone can fetch even that encrypted data or the plain text data. So basically, whenever they are having within the secure memory, right? So basically, it will not be loaded within this kind of memory dumps itself, right? So basically, that will not be loaded, and we will not be able to see even though if we are taking the full process dump or full memory dump like this. Okay.
Okay, so the remediation for this kind of vulnerability is not, loading those kind of sensitive details in the memory.
Correct.
Okay, so what will be the best place? Because if if developer says no, this is most important for us to load it into the memory. So another way is like encryption of that. Okay, and then AES and those algorithm will come. Um, right, Miss? Is my understanding correct?
Most probably we will not recommend that, but yeah, in case if there is a business requirement where they are not able to do that, then it is okay. But again, in loading into the secure memory will not be an issue for them, because they just need to change the library. Otherwise, everything will be same itself.
Okay, Miss, first is like do not load this kind of sensitive data in the memory.
Correct.
That is the first one. But if it is like a business requirement or because of some technical limitation, they cannot do it, then encryption will be the another way. Load it, but in an encrypted format, not in a raw text format, which is a readable one, human readable format. I have another question. Maybe just correct me if I'm wrong about the understanding of architecture of the thick line because of that. Okay, so most of the time, suppose I buy a tool like thick client tool. For example, in my company we are using Symantec. तो सिमेंटिक का डेटा यूज करते हैं और हमारे पास जो लाइसेंस होता है लाइक लाइसेंस की आती है हर एक प्रोडक्ट का, तो उसका डेटाबेस तो खाली मेरे कंपनी के पास होगा और सिमेंटिक के पास होगा, राइट? मतलब दिस कीज और दिस यूजर्स, मतलब दिस कीज आर अभी तक यूज हो रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल प्रोडक्ट कीज आर हो रहे हैं, तो उसका डेटा तो मेरे कंपनी के पास होगा और बाकी खाली सिमेंटिक के पास होगा क्योंकि सिमेंटिक ने हमें की दी है. तो इन केस में सपोज कीज आर गेटिंग सपोज की लीक हो गया इन एज अ रॉ, इसमें रॉ टेक्स्ट में, तो सपोज हैकर को मिला थ्रू बाय कॉम्प्रोमाइज बाय बिकॉज ऑफ एनी वे, ओके, तो कैन द सेम की will be used by that hacker on his system?
Yeah, it is possible, right? They can use it in
it is
in
possible
their
because
system.
वो semantic के पास, but yeah, there should be a check like the already it is in a use, तो वही की another use person कर रहा है, is trying to register, तो वो एक check होना चाहिए. And similar way for the banking details also, because those data is within my system, और ICICI बैंक के पास होगा, जिसका मैं कस्टमर हूँ उसके पास होगा, तो वो भी है. हैक होने के बाद भी दे शुड हैव एट एप्लीकेशन लेयर वाला लिमिटेशन होना चाहिए कि इट शुड नॉट गेट यूज्ड. या ओके, ओके, ग्रेट, थैंक यू.
वेलकम. Any doubts, any queries, guys?
हाँ, ये सिर्फ हम एक मिनट वो, हाँ, ये सिर्फ हम लॉगिन पेज पे ही परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं क्या?
नहीं, ये सारे मैंने बताया ना, ये सारे मतलब जो भी एप्लीकेशन में जहाँ पे भी फंक्शनैलिटी है, अभी हर एप्लीकेशन का फंक्शनैलिटी अलग अलग होगा. कई एप्लीकेशन में हम लॉग इन करके फिर आगे जाके हम कुछ अपने डेटा पे कर सकते हैं, जैसे कि हमने चेंज पासवर्ड कर सकते हैं, रीसेट पासवर्ड कर सकते हैं, राइट? तो ये सारी फंक्शनैलिटी तो नॉर्मल रहेगी, यहाँ पे तो हमें करना ही है, राइट? ये सारा परफॉर्म, बेसिकली हमें वो सारे फंक्शनैलिटीज को एग्जीक्यूट करना है और फिर हमें लेना है. ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट अगर कोई एक्स्ट्रा फंक्शनैलिटी है, जैसे कि अगर बैंकिंग एप्लीकेशन है, तो वहां पे हम अपना PI डेटा लोड करेंगे, तो वो लोड हो जाएगा अपने मेमोरी में, तो वो देखना है, राइट? कोई रिपोर्ट्स देख सकते हैं, जो भी एप्लीकेशन का फंक्शनैलिटी है, ये उस फंक्शनैलिटी में हमें देखना है कि कौन सा स्पेसिफिक सेंसिटिव डेटा कहाँ पे लोड होता है, वो सारी फंक्शनैलिटीज को एग्जीक्यूट करके फिर वहां पे डंप लेना है. ओके, उसके पहले नहीं लेना. ओके। पर यहाँ पे क्या रहता है कि हर एप्लीकेशन में फंक्शनैलिटी अलग अलग होती है, तो वो फिर हमें हमें वैलिडेट करना होता है। यहाँ पे कोई स्पेसिफिक लिस्ट नहीं होगा, ये तो लिस्ट है ही, राइट, ये तो ओवरऑल एप्लीकेशन का लिस्ट है। पर ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट जो भी एप्लीकेशन का फंक्शनैलिटी है उसके हिसाब से हमें वो पर्टिकुलर फंक्शनैलिटी एग्जीक्यूट करके फिर हमें डंप लेना होगा। ओके।
Okay.
Any doubts, any queries, anything, guys?
Actually, Keval, I will go more in a technical part, but I don't know because you know developers जहाँ पे मैं काम करती हूँ those are more technical and they require solution like not a remediation kind of thing, you know, जो general हम देते हैं। लेकिन अब SQL होगा तो चलो prepared statement डालो, parameterize query करो, they don't want that. On top of that they require more information from us. तो अभी इस केस में फॉर एग्जांपल फॉर मेमोरी लिखो जहाँ पे ये हो रहा है कि यहाँ पे आपने you know you just mentioned like you know they just need to change the library because the first thing it should not get loaded into the memory. तो उस केस में वो कैसा कर सकते हैं? ओके मतलब मेमोरी में लोड नहीं करना है तो व्हाट इज द अनदर वे एज अ टेक्निकल यू नो इफ यू सी द टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट कैसे कर सकते हैं उसको नहीं लोड करना है तो?
अगर लोड नहीं करना है तो बेसिकली यहाँ पे क्या रहता है, एक सिक्योर मेमोरी करके रहता है जो स्पेसिफिक सेंसिटिव डेटा के लिए ही यूज होता है, राइट। तो जो सिक्योर मेमोरी होता है वो स्पेसिफिक ये सारे डम्स वगैरह जो होता है ना उसमें वो सारा चीज वहाँ पे नहीं आता। तो टिपिकली हर एप्लीकेशन जो भी लैंग्वेज है, राइट, उसके लिए अलग अलग लाइब्रेरीज होता है। एक स्पेसिफिक लाइब्रेरी नहीं है कि जो डॉट नेट में काम आएगा, C++ में काम आएगा, C# में काम आएगा। तो उनको अपने हिसाब से जो भी हमारे क्लाइंट है या फिर जो भी हमारे इंटरनल डेवलपर्स है जो भी वो पर्टिकुलर एप्लीकेशन लैंग्वेज यूज करते हैं उसके हिसाब से वो लोग मतलब वैलिडेट करेंगे कि कौन सा सिक्योर मेमोरी का लाइब्रेरी है और वो लोड कर देंगे ना। तो बेसिकली वहां पे उस पर्टिकुलर मेमोरी में यहाँ ये सारा चीज जो सेंसिटिव डेटा है वो लोड हो जाएगा, जो कहीं पे भी लीक नहीं होगा। ओके, इवन दो हाँ, तो इवन दो वो यहाँ पे लोड होता है अपने एप्लीकेशन के साइड से, वो वहाँ पे लीक नहीं होगा।
ओके सो एनी ऐसा कुछ आपको याद है अभी मतलब कौन सा लाइब्रेरी फॉर एग्जांपल जावा के लिए ये लाइब्रेरी है सिक्योर मेमोरी का ऐसा?
मेरे पास उसका लिस्ट पड़ा है, वो मैं
हाँ
बाद में भेज दूंगा।
ओके। एक्चुअली हमारे डेवलपर बहुत ही टेक्निकल है, दैट इज गुड, वी आर लर्निंग कोडिंग अलोंग विद देम व्हाइल प्रोवाइडिंग अ remediation also.
Correct,
So
correct,
but yeah we should be up to the mark while
correct.
giving such kind of remediation also.
Exactly, exactly. Any doubts, any queries, anything, guys? No? Okay. So our next topic will be DLL injection. Okay. That again, what actually is the difference between DLL hijacking and DLL injection? How this DLL injection will be performed? What are the test cases? And how we will be able to validate it, right? So all of those specific things will be starting up with our fresh session itself, because anyhow DLL injection is again as complex as DLL hijacking, so that might take its own session, right? For today, what I will do is basically I will share you those specific resources. You can go ahead and you can practice on the same. In case if you have missed out on previous assignments, right, you can go ahead and you can validate. You can practice on the same, and you can do let me know if there is any doubts, any queries, right, and then we will be able to go forward with our further topics as well. Okay. Any doubts, any queries, anything, guys?
केवल आपका
Yes.
ये जो पीपीटी है ना वो शेयर कर दो ना
Yeah.
हमारे चैट में
Yeah.
so
I
that
will
we
share.
can practice.